Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to today's presentation. I'm Nigel Watts, and I'm the Managing Director for Prota Software, and today I have the absolute pleasure of being able to take you through the new version of our platform, ProtaStructure, the 2021 version. Thank you all for tuning in. Look, we've got literally hundreds of people from all over the world joining us today, so it's really fantastic to see such a wonderful turnout, and I hope during the course of the next hour or so that I can show you some of the interesting things that we've been up to over the last, well, actually over the last few years. So I'm just gonna start, and you'll see me for a little bit, and then I'm going to disappear as we get into demonstrating the software. So you can see me at present, and I'll just carry on for a little bit, and then I'll disappear. So a bit about Prota. Prota's been around for 35 years now as a business, and it's an interesting company because we actually get involved with a range of different facets of engineering, design, and software. So we are first and foremost, obviously, we are a software business, but we also have developed a very successful engineering consulting business and a very successful software distributor business. We also have other setups around the world, which we'll talk about shortly. Now, the engineering side of our practice is actually the largest civil, structural, and architectural practice in Turkey, and we've completed over thousands of jobs all over the world. We employ getting on for 400 engineers and architects, and we tend to get involved with large infrastructural jobs, airports, railways, that type of thing. So we actually use the software to deliver a lot of our projects. We also are the largest Autodesk reseller in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, and we have a long relationship with Autodesk that goes back well over 25 years, and we have about 70 people on that side of the business. And I guess, sort of being a technology business ourselves, we also like to engage with other leading technology providers, and that relationship is an important one. And we obviously collaborate a little bit with Autodesk, and we also obviously support their solutions in that part of the world. Now, Prota as a business has been growing. We've been investing and growing our businesses regionally and globally. Across Turkey, we have a very big setup. We also have moved into Europe, and we have an office now in Poland. We are looking at expanding our presence across Europe. We also, across Asia Pacific, I'm actually based in Malaysia. We have offices in Singapore. We're also in the midst of opening an office in the Philippines, and we are expanding our presence across Southeast Asia. And we also have some great partners around the world, across Europe, into Asia, and increasingly across into the Americas. It's really quite exciting time for our business as we are starting to grow. And I just thought I'd give you some background about the company and a little bit of history around the software. So we first started back in 1992, and we created what was then the first reinforced concrete design and detailing system way back 28 years ago now, and that was Prota Orion, and that was very successfully used for many years around the world. But that was the first system of its type that had been actually introduced into industry. Now, we continued to develop that, and in the early days it took a route of actually focusing on earthquake or seismic engineering, and in particular rehabilitation of and retrofit of existing buildings. So in places like Turkey, they have severe earthquakes, and there was a period where there was significant earthquakes occurring, and a lot of private and public buildings needed to be upgraded and retrofitted to meet new rigorous earthquake standards, and we introduced a lot of capabilities on that front in the early 2000s. This moved on, and in 2007 we were one of the first to actually integrate, because the physical models with Revit, so we had bidirectional links with Revit at that point, Revit Structure many years ago, if you might remember, and that being able to communicate that physical data is something that's carried on over the years and is quite a strong point of the software. We took the opportunity to redevelop the technology in 2014, and that's where ProtaStructure was born. ProtaStructure is a multi-material system for modelling analysis and design, and I'll get to that in a little bit more detail in a minute. Now, not to be outdone by the engineering side, the engineering side not to be outdone by us. They've also been heavily involved with BIM technology and implementing that on their projects. In fact, we were one of the first to deliver an entire metro line completely in using BIM tools. So from the architecture, the structure, the services, the construction, the alignments, everything being done within using physical models, using the latest BIM technologies. And that carried on, and then in 2018 we introduced the new international airport in Istanbul, which is, if you've been through it, I had the privilege of going through it about a year ago. It's a huge airport, it's absolutely massive, and it's quite an interesting design, interesting structure to service what is increasingly, well, in the future will be a very, very busy hub. So that just gives you some insight into what we've been doing. I just wanted to now just take the discussion into perhaps what you're doing as engineers, and I guess as engineers we like to emulate what real-world physical scenarios. So to do that we create models, and they can be little wireframe analytical models through to physical BIM models. We then obviously need to move that down into actually looking at design, and first stage of that is obviously performing the analysis and then taking that into design. Okay, so designing all the elements within the project. Increasingly, then you're then having to communicate that in the form of drawings and create your detailing to convey that to site. Increasingly, though, we're seeing more and more engineers and practices wanting to being asked to create fabrication or constructible information, and actually providing shop detailing, providing information to facilitate the construction. And obviously a real hot topic at the moment is BIM and being able to share information, share physical information, data, all sorts of information which makes up building information modelling, and being able to coordinate and collaborate with different parties across different projects. So you, as an engineer, you've got a lot to actually have to handle. So modelling and analysis, design, detailing, fabrication and BIM. So that's actually quite a lot to take in if you're a consulting business. Now we recognise that traditionally you've probably been using discrete tools to help you deliver these processes. So you may have been using STAAD or SAP or ETABS perhaps for your own modelling and analysis. And they do some design, but mainly just elemental design, maybe component design, but and some of them, you know, don't actually deal with everything. So you've got to design other things separately, things like retaining walls and drainage and that type of thing. You would have other tools for. So you've also got detailed design checks that are associated with the models. So things like being able to check for lap lengths, checks for anchorage, all the other associated things that go into completing a design is also required, and sometimes within these packages that level of detail is missing. So then traditionally you'd then take all that information and then pass that into a platform like AutoCAD. So you might be passing that by just drawing up some sketches, handing them to a draftsman. He then goes away and conveys your intention into your drawings. But when you look at the CAD systems out there these days, a lot of them are quite generic. So they're, you know, it's AutoCAD or BizCAD or G-StarCAD. They're all just generic CAD platforms. They're not really dedicated to helping you with the kind of structural detailing that you may be typically doing. And then you may even then be moving down into fabrication, and often at this point, all of that information gets binned, and then you're having to start to build fabrication models from scratch. So you may be using different softwares for that, OCAD, Advanced Steel, maybe Tekla structures. So there's lots of different programs that are involved with this whole process. And then finally, you're moving into BIM, where you may be communicating with other platforms like Revit, Tekla structures, ArchiCAD, and the like. So as you can probably see, that there's lots of different programs there, and they're all you start to think, well, look, I may look around my office, maybe I've got something for modeling analysis, I've got something separate for component design, I've got a separate drafting package. They're all separate little programs that you have, and you're all having to learn all these different programs, all different interfaces, different ways of working. And you're also having to obviously invest quite a bit to acquire all this software. So, and then at the end of the day, sometimes all this information is not moving between these different steps. So you're losing out on information being held in silos and not being able to communicate downstream as you move into the design process. So what we've done is we've created a platform that's just dedicated for modeling and analysis for buildings, okay, a real dedicated program for that. And then that moves into design, and we're going right down into the detail, right down into things like steel connections, concrete beams, designing your core walls, foundations, and the like. Then we've developed a CAD software, so a really brilliant CAD software that's focused on structural detailing, okay, and being able to provide you with your structural detailing. And that is also facilitates component design. So other items on a project outside of what may be required for a building, perhaps a retaining wall and the like, you have those components available to you as well. And not forgetting fabrication. So if you are looking at maybe expanding the scope of your services, we've also developed a platform for aiding with producing fabrication information. And then finally, a platform that allows us to communicate with other BIM platforms, structural BIM tools, other architectural, other types of BIM programs that allow you to communicate your project with different parties. So what the idea has been that we've integrated all of this. So the modelling, the analysis, the design, the detailing, the fabrication and BIM has now been created into one integrated platform, one solution. And this has culminated really, particularly with this year, with the introduction of ProtaStructure 2021. So this whole vision is now coming together and starting to be realised. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to turn my camera off so you don't need to look at me anymore, and I'm going to actually show it to you. So rather than me spending time here talking, I'm just going to get in, and I'm going to show you what we've been up to. So I'm going to launch the ProtaStructure platform. Okay. So this is our brand new platform. It's been rolled out to our user base. This was released about 8 weeks ago now, and you'll now any of our existing users should have this, and we would thoroughly encourage them to start taking advantage of the technology. First thing that people will notice when they first arrive into the new platform is that there's a brand new interface, and we've got a brand new welcome screen here that just helps you get up and running. So any of the projects that you've perhaps been working on before can be loaded on the left here, and you can visualize those. We've got new interactive news and video feeds. So here you'll see the latest from us, latest news items. You can also get access to all of our videos. So I think you might be aware that we've not just had videos around demonstrating software, but we've also been trying to educate people. So if you're interested in finding out about topics like foundation design or flat slab design or maybe performance-based design, there's little videos there that you can also watch as part of the libraries of information that we have. Now, we also have direct live access to resources here. So if you're wanting to find out about certain topics, maybe certain features or functionality in the software, you can directly access the Help Center from here. All the new features, all the what's new documentation is available. And for those of you who are new to the platform, there's also quick start information, so quick start guides and the like that you can access to allow you to get up and running. What we've also done is change the way we deliver new development. So we now update systems live. Regularly we're pushing out new updates to the software. You don't need to uninstall and reinstall the platform. It will just self-update your platform and your acceptance, and it just allows us to keep you up to date with enhancements that we're making to the system, improvements that we're making, any fixes that we find. are all distributed on a very regular basis. And the way that we're developing is evolving so that we don't necessarily just have one major release a year, but we're having periodic updates as well as small enhancements that we're issuing out live. So that's a really nice way for us to be able to interact with you. Now I'm just going to create a new project here. I'm going to give it a name, so we can call it say PS 2021 maybe global. And you can then come and choose templates here. Now there's a broad range of different templates for countries all over the world that you can load. So if you were doing work not just in your home country, maybe you're doing work in elsewhere in the world, you may find standard templates here. And we've studied these different markets and we understand how design and detailing is typically being delivered in those countries. Now today, because we've got such a broad audience, I'm having to pick on one of them to try and give everybody a little bit of a flavour. So I've decided to go today with Eurocode, and I'll load the Malaysian template. The advantage with this is that for those of you who are doing seismic design, perhaps to the American codes, there'll also be a little bit in this for you. Those across Europe and maybe into Africa who are also starting to, or are using Eurocodes or starting to transition into Eurocodes, there'll be something in this for you. But these will load typical design and detailing settings for those countries. You can just select it and then load it, and then you're away. Okay, so it's loading the template, and then we're into the new environment. Now, let's give it a second. It's just loading. The new environment across the top here, you'll see that we've got a brand new ribbon. So we've re-engineered the ribbon, and we've really made this very logical, very systematic. So you start with building set out, and you can see that there's different tools here which I'll get to in terms of creating that. You can then move into your modeling and creating your elements. And you'll see you've got a really nice ribbon here with all different objects here that you can work with. Then into your loading, setting up your combinations, creating your different types of loads, seismic wind and the like. You can then review it before you then would move into the analysis and then the design processes. Finally, you can then look at creating your drawings and documentation reports, and then also collaborating with them. So there's a real nice logical flow here to how the system works. We've thought about this very carefully to give you something that's very logical, very, very systematic and easy to use. Now there's other things that we've done as well. Some of the existing users will appreciate that all the settings are now centralized. So if you are looking at different codes of practice, different detailing settings, they're all centralized in one place, and you can see the different settings here that you can customize to suit your project. So you don't have to go searching for things, they're all located in one place. We've also introduced a new performance mode. So if you're doing very large structures, we've made the way in which information is presented a little bit more simplified to aid performance. So very large buildings, really high office buildings, residential buildings, you can take advantage of this, and this just helps speed up the process without you losing too much refinement to the models. Now, the other interesting thing here is you'll notice that there's some new ways in which you might want to start your project, and you can see here that there's external reference drawings, Revit imports, DXF imports, as well as IFCs. And what I'm going to do to start with is I'm just going to actually show you an example of how that you might make use of this. So I'm going to come in and pick up a drawing, and this is actually a DXF file that's come in, and this file includes some predefined structural elements. So I can come and choose the scale here I want to work with in the drawing, and we can show this in the plan view. Okay, and you can see here that this is actually a pump house drawing, and in this pump house drawing there are actually some structural elements which have been laid out. So they could be columns, beams, walls. Now these are actually the 2D information, but what we've done with this new release is that we're able to actually take some of this 2D information and extrude that into 3D. So we're trying to help speed up the process. So if you had old key plans from previous projects and you wanted to use these to perhaps create your structural models very quickly, you could take advantage of this. Now I won't show you, I'll omit the slabs, and I'll just pick this up, and you can see here that we've picked up the relevant layers. you can default things like if you've got two lines representing a beam, you want to signify, say, a default depth, and that can be done here, that type of thing, thickness of the slabs, and then you can just import this. And so what we're doing now is we're taking that 2D information and we're extruding it out and providing this in 3D. So if I just close this, you might see that there's some structural elements now in that model. I will just I'll show you this. You can see this currently in plan view, and I'll just show you what this looks like in 3D. You can see it's just toddling this, and you can see the 3D view. So we've automatically brought in these elements. We've extruded them from the 2D information that we had. You can also see that we've got the overlay here, so you can see the overlay of that. This is a pump house is there, and you could carry on and continue to model and enhance this. But it's just one way in which you can start to work with a range of different information from a project. Now I'm going to I'll create another one, and I'm just going to draw from a similar example, just to show you perhaps another way that you could work with this. Here I'm going to, this time around, I'm going to create a model from DXF data. So this could be maybe a general analysis program. Maybe you've been using SAP or STAT or something like that. You've actually got a model and you want to bring that into ProtaStructure. Well, how would you do that? So in here you can import floor plans like I showed you just now, but you can also bring in physical models or 3D analytical models which are in DXF format. So I'm just going to choose a file here, another one, and I can just open this. You can choose the units again that you want to use. Okay, it's picked up the elements, and then I can just ask this to import this model. So it's now taking this physical model and re-establishing this inside of ProtaStructure 2021. So if you just give it a second, you'll see that something's been done there, and I'll just close this down. And if I just show you this in 3D, you can see that we've taken what was quite a complicated model, a wireframe model, and we've actually brought this directly into ProtaStructure, and then we could just start working with this to develop other parts of the model, but with having this within the model. Okay, so that's another example that you could make use of, and you can also try the IFC imports, Revit imports, bringing physical information in at the start of the project just to aid the modeling process. So the whole idea behind this is just to give you more speed, more versatility, allowing you to use more of the information that you might have available to you at the start of the job. Now, if you're not that privileged and you are wanting to just have to start from scratch, I'll just create another project here. I'm just going to show you that process, and I'm going to work through a quick model here just to show you how you can take advantage of the new platform and the new technology that we have. Now, for those of you who are familiar with ProtaStructure 2019, we've not tried to reinvent the wheel, so you will see that a lot of the dialogues that we have in here are familiar to you. So it would be a very natural progression for you, albeit that we're in this new interface. So across the top here, you can see that I can start creating my model. I may just want to come and initially just set out some grid lines. I'm going to do that. So you can key in the axes yourself. If you had them if you had them in a CAD file, you could bring these in. It's very flexible. You can just import those, and then you can see that you've got the grid line arrangements there. Now, if you select an element and you right-click, you can go to the properties of that, and you can see that the properties of that axis are associated there. I can come in and modify this. So if I wanted to maybe change this grid line so that it's actually a curved axis, okay, that can be easily done. Okay, I can just take this information and start to work with it to create what it is that I'd like to have within the model. So just selecting the elements, I can load the properties. Okay, I can come in and remove that axis, and then I could recreate the axis with the similar labeling and properties on top of that. So if I have a grid line that's not exactly straight, maybe it's an unusual grid line, I can come in and model that. Maybe it's a facade of a building. That's the type of thing you can do. So if I just work my way across, next thing I might want to do is apply some columns here. And if I just click on a column, I can just insert these and place the columns in the model. Okay, you can work with different objects here, different shapes, so you can create other objects there. I might want to align these along the curvature of that grid. I can easily come in and do that. If I have maybe columns which are different properties, they could be steel, could be built up sections, cold form, or even composite. You can come and define these here and you can create them within the model. So I'm going to put in maybe a concrete column here, could be circular. The underlying engineering properties are calculated, and then we can just come and grab these and we can come and put these in the model. Okay, so quickly here you can see I've come in and defined some columns there. Now you can work with these if you find that maybe the column orientation here, I don't like it. I can just come and pick up a column, I can reorientate it, reposition that column. So all of this is editable if I wanted to move that. Okay, I can also use my cursor keys, and you might just see that I'm just adapting this a little bit to suit the geometry. So you can just tweak things in here very quickly to suit the set out. I'm going to put in some walls at this point, and I'm just going to run across and create the walls. Now, what you might start to see is that there's a contextual ribbon here, and I'll explain a little bit more about this in a minute. But if I just come back to the main modeling environment, when I do start to put in elements like beams, you'll see that the contextual ribbon will appear, and this gives me additional features and functions that I could do as I'm creating these beams. So you can see I'm just running around here. I'm putting in I'll put in a funny beam that's followed the facade there, the diagonal beam. We've got some curved members there. I may want to just box around and put a lot of members in one area. It's asking me if I want to split members. I don't want to do that. So you can see that I'm just really quickly coming in and creating the underlying model here. This is significantly faster than previous editions. You'll see it's much more responsive as you're creating the model. Okay, you can snap to points, or you can actually key exact distances in as you're going to create things in here and just position things accordingly. And as I mentioned earlier, you can just tweak these to adjust them to suit what it is that you're wanting to create. So if I want to move, for example, I want to just move these columns into a different location, then I can just adapt these accordingly. I'll get into the slabs. So we just, if we click on the slabs, you can key in a thickness. If you're not sure about things like live loading, there are tables in here that you can draw from codes. Okay, Eurocode, for example. It could be bedroom and dormitory. If you're not sure about the superimposed dead loads, you can build these up in terms of libraries. So you can just quickly come and create these and create your slab location where you want it to be. Now, of course, you can key your own values in here. If you don't like these values, then this is all adaptable. Okay, maybe you've got a toilet area with different types of finishes. Again, you can just come and choose those and put those in the model. Okay, of course, you can key your own values in here. So if you have a different live load value, then that could be established here. Maybe I've got something that's a bit higher, just by the lift core there. Okay, it's entirely up to you. You can just drive this process as you go. Now, I'm going to just do some other things, and I'm just kind of reminding maybe some existing users of additional features as well as we go. So we also have things like sketch lines that you can use to help you set out unusual geometry. So here I'm just running around and I'm creating a profile that I might want to use to define a slab here. So you can have different types of slabs, and you can set these up with how you want to set them up. I might make that slab a little bit thinner. I could drop the slab a distance, okay, and you can then just come and create that in the model. Okay, so very quickly you can just make use of tools like that to set out things that are a little bit unusual. Now, earlier I was talking about this contextual ribbon. So if I go and click on a beam, for example, you'll see along the top here, everything that's associated with that beam is additional features are highlighted to you. You can also right click, so you'll get the same menu here if you right click, but we've made this more interactive. So if I clicked on that beam and I then wanted to come and edit the wall load, I could just interact with that dialog there, and we could come in and create, say, maybe some wall loading on that beam. Okay. Now, that particular wall load, I can copy it, so you can use Control-C commands if you want to. Okay, and I could just come and select maybe some perimeter beams there, and you can use, naturally you could use a Control V, and if you just hit Control V, then it will copy and paste that information. So we are trying to take advantage of familiar things that will be useful to you if you've been using other systems like Microsoft. Now, I'm going to come in and look at these walls in particular. So if I come and select these walls here, you'll see that the I then have the option here to merge these walls. So you can see that that's now a merged wall. And if I just select that wall again, you'll see that I've got the open dialog here. I could add extra loads to this wall, or maybe I want to go into the polyline wall editor. And we've done quite a bit of work with the walls in this release. Sorry, let me just load that again. It's loading. Let's one more time. Okay, so you can see the polyline wall editor here. This is an interactive wall editor. You can work with this independently, so you can maybe you want to introduce some end zone links in here. So you can drive this manually, and you can type in distances for things like end zones. These can be symmetrical. You can hit OK and create end zones. You can also just come in and in here and click and create other types of links. So insert link around that whole boundary. So you can use this in here just to define and create different types of. Sorry, let me just get my the way that this is working properly. So you can insert a link type here, make another link around the entire boundary of that, and you can drive this detailing. So you can actually come in here and manually start to create and build certain types of specific detailing that you might have for walls. But I'm going to delete that because that's quite a manual process. So what we've also done with this release is we've introduced automatic containment for unusual or merged wall shapes. So you can see just with a click there, I've actually created all the bars and a template that I will then want to use for design and detailing for the walls. Now, depending on the code of practice that you're using, there may be specific detailing provisions required for seismic and the like, but then you can see that this will then adapt to those, and then you can use this as a template for the design. So if I just hit OK, then it's now going to use those bars for doing design. We can selectively use that for other types of elements. So if it was a polyline column, for example, you can work with these to create unusual geometry and shapes. Okay, so you're not constrained by what we have in the basic library. These can be driven, so you can automatically contain things in here. You can see here that I'm just drawing out some additional links, okay, and ties that I want in the column. So you can have multiple layers of bars. You can just use this to really define this as a template, just to create whatever it is that you would like to have within your model. So all the other standard shapes and so on will be automatically designed and detailed, but then if you've got unusual things, then you can use this to help you create those. Now I've been working so far in 2D, and I'm going to in the tree here we can just come in and selectively choose to come in and open up other views. So here you can see a 3D view of this. These can be toggled, so you can look at different views here. In fact, if you have another machine, maybe you want to pull views off to another screen. If you've got a couple of screens, you can take advantage of that. So particularly with bigger projects, that would be quite useful. I can then start to work with this further, so you can work in both in the plan view as well as in the 3D model here. So I'm going to come in and create some other parts of this project. So I might have in here, I might actually want to come in and create some openings in the slab, and we can come in and do that. If you've got things like polyline drops, let's just come and create them. So you can just bound the shape that you wanted to use in this particular slab there, and if I just finish that, you'll notice that this slab is actually dropped. So the idea with this is that I can create whatever type of geometry that I have in here. We can use the physical model to help us drive this. If things have to move around, then you can just reposition things accordingly. Okay, if you want to do things like introduce, maybe you've got an opening in a wall, this type of thing can easily be done. Maybe I want to change the dimensions of that. Okay, so you can just work with this to create what it is that physically you would like to present. Now, at this point, I may just want to come up and start to generate information upwards. So I'm going to just come in and let's just come in and insert a few floors. So let's make this 5 stories, okay, and we can then start to take this information here and we can start to work with this. So I can then, if I just go to stories, I can right click and I can generate story information upwards. You can choose what you want to copy. You don't have to copy everything, and I could just select these other floors here. And if I hit OK, you can see that information has been quickly reflected and generated up the building. Now, you can interact with this model. It's very easy to make changes. If you want to delete elements, remove them, make changes, you can. Up here, you'll notice that I've got, at this point, I have an arrangement of beams of roof there. I can come and choose to just select certain elements in the model. So if I just wanted to come and select maybe the beams at that roof level there, we could just box around. You can see that they've all been selected. And if I right click, I could remove those. So I'm then left with the maybe a flat slab at the roof level. Okay, so we can then just adapt this to suit the type of structure that we want to create. Okay, so you have the flexibility to edit and make changes very quickly in here as you're progressing the model. Okay, so I'm now at the roof level, and I'm going to touch on some new features that we've introduced here as well. Okay, I'm going to, let's just put in some columns initially. You can draw columns from libraries of different databases here. So it might be, maybe I want to use a steel section, maybe it's a UC. Okay, we could just come in and select the appropriate section here. Oops, no. Sorry, I've got a bit of a freeze here. Okay, look, let me try that again. Choose the section. Okay, let's choose the section. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I can just take this and then we can place this in the model. You can just come and choose where these would be located. Okay, these can be set out just to suit the project that you're working with. Let me just move that box out of the way so that it becomes a bit easier. So they have a little steel structure at the top here. Now, this is you can work with different elements here, and we've got these what we can call contextual elements. So here I want to create a truss. I don't need to key the nodes in to create that truss. I can just come and select between these two elements, and we could then move to create the truss in the model. Now, there's different ways that this can be done. Obviously, we have a standard library of truss profiles that you can choose from here, and these are adaptable. But what we've also introduced is the ability to be able to create whatever geometry you like. So if I had an unusual truss, I could make use of this to enhance the nature of the truss. So I may want to put in maybe a top hat on this particular truss. You can key in some extra nodes here and coordinates, and you can see that these coordinates are created here. Now you can then work with these. So if you wanted to add in extra points, so I might want to add an extension point here for the top hat there. I might might be 500 millimeters this way, and then I want to create the same thing in the other direction. Okay, we can type that in and hit OK, and then we can just draw in the elements that we want to have. So I could come in and draw in these vertical elements here. I may want to add a top chord, so you can see that the elements are grouped, and you can choose to define these as however you like, and you can then just come in and create the element. So if you're happy with that, then that could then be placed within the model. Okay, I'm going to just remove that because I want to show you some other things as well. If I come back to the truss again, and we just place this, you also have the ability to be able to import from CAD. So you could come in here and choose a truss, okay, that you might have sketched up in the CAD environment. You can play with the scales here, and then you can pick coordinates where you want the truss inserted. So two coordinates to drive the insertion, and then you can import this. And once you've got this in, the truss is you can work with the truss to help you define different properties of the truss. So if I select this element here, I may want to set that as a top chord. So when it's being designed, it's designed as a top chord. The internals are the bottom chords. I could come and select some of the internals here, and I can just define what they are. So there could be diagonals, for example. So you can just work with this to create whatever it is that you wish to work with in the model. So if you have those information, if you've sketched it up in CAD, you can just bring that straight in and start to use that to define things. Now I'm also going to just come and create another. I might just use a standard truss this time, and you can see how this works. So you can work with parameters here. These are very flexible, so you can work with these just to define type of truss that you might want to have. You can choose how the things are aligned in here. Okay, and you can just preview the truss before you actually go away to create it. So if you're happy with this, you just hit OK, then that gets created and copy. It then becomes available to copy and replicate elsewhere in the model. So I'm going to continue working with this. Let's just put in, say, a UV, and you can choose different types of sections here at your disposal. You can maybe I want to play with the releases, so I want to pin each end of that, and I'm going to come and place my UVs here. Okay. Now, so I can just quickly come and do that, and you can see that they're set up. Maybe at the apex here, I want to change the section, so I might want to use a tubular section, maybe something a little bit bigger, and then I can then come in and work with this to tie the, oops, let me do that again, to tie the top of the trusses there together. Okay, so you can see here that I'm just working with the model to define these elements. Now, at this point, we may want to introduce other items, and we've got these other contextual modelling elements here. So I'm going to work with some braces. So to insert braces, you can just click on these two, and it will preview a brace arrangement for you. Now, you can play with the types of shapes that you have here, how these are defined. All this can be set up here, and you can work with this if you want to have different types of braces, K braces, diagonals. All this is adaptable. You can move these elements, so if you find that you need to adjust it on site, okay, you can change that. The analytical wire can stay where it is, or this can move. So this is all adaptable to suit what it is that you would wish to create. Now, if you just hit OK, then those trusses get created, okay, and you can those braces get created. You can replicate this on the other side. Same properties will carry over. What might be more challenging is this roof. So I've got bracing system in the plane of these trusses here, and what we've introduced with this is that you can see that you're previewing the trusses and the bracing arrangements here, and you can see the braces have been predefined for the top and bottom chords. And you can work with this, so I can make changes here. I might want to have a couple of braces on the top chord, and I may wish to have no braces at all on the bottom chord. So you can come in and define this, and then you can see that the preview there is adapting. And if you're happy with this, then you hit OK, and then those elements will be created in the model here. Now, at this point, let's work with our purlins. So we can choose in those end trusses there, and it'll also preview an arrangement for the purlins here. So again, this is an example where traditionally you may have had to go and type all these in, draw all these purlins in if you wish to represent them in the model. With this, you don't need to do this. It's previewing an arrangement. All of this is editable, so if you want to change section sizes, use different types of profiles, in here you can. Okay, and they'll adapt accordingly. Now you'll notice here that I've also modelled the sag rods. If I don't wish to include that level of detail, I can turn them off, or you can drive the way that they're detailed manually. Okay, you can also assign loads to this, which I'll get to because we've introduced some other new features to help you with loads to this arrangement. So if you're happy with this, then you can just select that, and then that will be created in the model here. Now the final few things I'm going to do in this model is I'm going to introduce some GURTs. So again, we can just click on the external perimeter elements there. We can click on the spacings here, or maybe I'll just turn those off. You can preview this. If you're happy with that, then you just create. And again, those elements are created. And I'll just finish this off here. Now, the final thing I was going to talk about, a couple of other new things that we've introduced with this release, is we have a new option for creating frame elements. And these frame elements are very flexible. This is like a general frame element that you can work with. And you can use these, you can come in and make changes to use different profiles in here to accentuate your modeling. So if you had a very unusual arrangement, you can use things like intelligent snap points to create that member and to set out unusual geometry. Now, this member is, you can fully control it. So if you want to release end moments, maybe you want to release torsional moments, maybe you even want to release shear. That probably wouldn't work very well. So you can play with this. You may have axial releases in this as well. So all the render properties are fully flexible, and you can just adapt this to suit the element in the model, and you can define these as other types of elements as well, depending on what it is that you're creating. So this just gives you the flexibility to be able to create any type of geometry, any unusual geometry that you might have within your steelwork here. You can use the free member element to create those models. And when we imported those elements earlier, we start with the free frame member, and then you can then define the type of properties of each of those elements that then are. So I could import the truss, and as you saw, I then redefined elements as top chord or bottom chord. Otherwise, they can be treated as frame members. Now, another new feature that we've introduced here is cladding. And if I just click on the cladding option, you can then just choose, say, a panel of the roof here. Sorry, let me do that again. You choose the cladding option, that's selected. Oh, sorry, one more time. Yeah. So if I sorry, that's let me come out and let me try that one more time. I'm not quite getting that to activate. Maybe it's my last time. Let's see if we can get this time. Okay, here we go. All right, it should be a lot easier than what I had made it look. So in here you can see that there's a new cladding element, and this element will bound that surface. So whether it's a wall, roof, you can make use of this cladding element to help you assign loads. So in here, if I wanted to add loading, maybe I want to add the cladding loading for that roof. You can define the loading, and then you can assign this to individual panels, or you could assign it globally to the whole of that roof. So I've now assigned some dead load to that roof. It could be live loading, it could be wind loads, it could be snow loads. So you can just come in here and establish those pressure loads on the model. It's intelligently understanding that that's a surface, and then it's then allowing you to set up and create those loads and apply those to the model. Okay, so we've covered a bit of ground. I'm now wanting to look into getting into the modeling analysis and the design. I'm going to quickly come in and generate some combinations here. Your pattern load cases as well as your lateral cases can be established here. I'm going to run wind loading as well as seismic. Okay, and if I just hit OK, all your combinations are then automatically generated for you. So you can see them here being created in accordance with the code. Seismic parameters can be established. Depending on the country, we have little seismic maps that you can draw from. Here's a little map of Malaysia. You can choose an appropriate city that you might want to use for this. These will adapt. You can choose different ground types and the like, and this will just, each of these will follow through the associated code that you're using. So if you're designing a building in America, maybe you're designing a structure in Thailand, there's various codes that we support that will allow you to create whatever type loading that you wish. So I'm going to choose to run 10 modes here. We do some quite sophisticated regularity checks, and we do some really smart things for things like joint shear checks as well as strong column weak beam design. So you can check those out. There's other webinars that cover this in more detail, okay, but that's just to give you a quick oversight. Now I'm just going to quickly save this because I want to populate the geometry to allow me to then do the wind loading. So wind loading is also automated. We cover a range of different codes, so whether it's the British standard, Euro codes, American codes. In this case here, I'm actually going to be running this to the Malaysian standard, which is a direct copy of the Australian code. Here you can come in and just key in your parameters, your basic wind speed, topographical considerations. You can just come in and choose where the structure might be located, what type of structure it is, and you're just working your way here through the relevant code of practice. We then automatically will calculate the loading for you, pressures, loads, and so on will be automatically set up, and then these can be assigned and applied to the model. So this takes you through that process of setting up and establishing your loads. At this point, you may want to quickly review the model before you get to the design. And this review section allows you just to quickly check things like your live loading, your superimposed dead loads on the slabs. If you've got different types of column sections, you'll be able to see what's being created in the model here, beam sections and the like. So you can just use this to quickly check your model before you get into the analysis and design process. Now I'm not going to take you through the analysis and design process. I do, just before I do that, touch on that there are some very sophisticated non-linear and building assessment capabilities that we've introduced with the 2021 version of the software that you can take advantage of. Okay, I'm not going to touch on those today. I'm just going to go through and do a quick analysis and design. The parameters are here, and you can choose different codes of practice. You'll see that there's a big range here that you can choose from. This is defaulted depending on the template that you're using. The seismic parameters, we've established loading and so on has been set up. I'm now just going to create the model. So I'm going to use rigid zones for my model here. You could design beams as flanged or rectangular. I'm going to also mesh the walls, and I'm going to mesh the slab. So I'm just quickly going to choose to mesh the flat slab here at the level 4. We can do that, and then so I've chosen that, and then that will be meshed. Now the analysis is a button. We can just choose this button, and then we can ask it to perform and move through the analysis and design processes. Now with this release, we are now fully 64-bit, so the solver and design processes have been streamlined. And you'll see, if you're an existing user, that the analysis and design processes are significantly faster than the hybrid version that we had with 2019 version. And if I just, you'll just see as it's progressing here that we're really streamlining the way it moves through the analysis and design processes here. So it's taking advantage of multi-core processing, it's taking advantage of multi-threads. Okay, we're trying to really maximize the speed and responsiveness of the analysis and design engine. So the data's been prepared. Okay, it's now moving through and it's running the analysis. Okay, this will just take a few seconds. It's done. Okay, it's now doing some post-analysis checks, which you can see being performed there. So things like interstory drift checks, irregularity checks. It's even adding all the weight up of every floor to make sure that it's being properly chased down the building. So all these types of checks are being performed as part of this process. And it's now moving in and designing all the elements. So again, we've streamlined this. All the different combinations, load cases and combinations that have been created are checked, or the combinations are checked, and so we're designing these for all the different permutations. All these, the envelope is being created for the design. Now, what you might also see there is that there are check steel options available there, and these allow you to, if you'd already done the design and you already have steel in the model, that maybe later there's changes, or you don't have to start from scratch. So you can just perform a check design. If there are changes, it will keep the existing information, and it will just highlight those elements that may need to be redesigned because of the changes that have occurred. So you can just see it's just rapidly moving through this. It's now moving into the steel design. Okay, it's just going through that whole process here. And if you just give it a few more seconds, we will be done. So the steel design's also been enhanced. We're also checking for deflections and members, and they can be user defined. Otherwise, they'll be based on the code prescriptions for those elements. Okay, we've enhanced the way in which it looks at and calculates lateral torsional buckling lengths. Okay, there's some smart things that we're doing there to help you with the design process. So that's done. Okay, and at this point, you might see that it's actually going to come and open up the analytical view. Now you can tile these views, so if I wanted to see smart views here, you can see that the analysis model's down here. I've got my 3D physical model as well as my plan views, and you can just toggle between these views. You can unblock them, you can move them around. Okay, it's very, very responsive. But if I'm just going to, I just want to come and look at maybe just the analysis model here. And if I look at the this is a new post-processor that we've introduced with the 2021 release. Okay, it was sort of started to be introduced in the 2019 version, but we've brought this in here fully with this release. And you'll see that you can click on this and it's lightning quick. So if you want to look at various results here, you can just choose what it is that you want to see. So maybe I'm wanting to look at moments in the walls there. You can see that we've resolved all these for the core walls that they're combined. You can choose to turn things off. So if I don't want to see the shear walls which are dominating the moments here, you can just adapt this. So you can see that I'm now just looking at the beams. Okay, I can just see a more clear representation of the beams which aren't being dominated by those core walls. Of course, I can turn those back on. Okay, so you can just adapt the results to suit here. If you want to look at other things that are going on, you may be interested in displacements and you want to see the animation of the model there, you can. This is instant, so if I wanted to look at, let's say, the modal behavior of the building, you can see there that this is just instantly rendering, instantly providing you with a view of how this is behaving. Okay, and this is lightning quick. I've never seen a processor as fast as this. Okay, and it will just prepare and preview all this data for you. Of course, you can look at other things in here. So if you wanted to look at, turn off the animations for the time being. Maybe I'd like to see the contours. Then you can look at various contours in the model. Again, you can turn results on and off. So if I don't want to see the moments there, I just want to look at the stresses. Maybe I'm interested in only seeing the contours in the wall. So I could just turn off the slabs there, and then I can just focus in on what it is that I'm interested to view. Okay, you can choose to maybe turn the diagrams back on again. There is another view here called a solid model, and this is just for a little show. So you can see here the model. You can look at the moments in here. You can just get a feel for the behavior here and how this looks. So there's some nice things going on with the new analysis post-processor. It's really fast and interactive here. So now I've come in and sort of designed the model here. We can come and look at the design status, so you can see that the structure has been designed. Okay, so instantly you can see the status of the model. Okay, you can start to interact with this. So you could, if you wanted to come and look at a particular beam, you can just select the beam from from the view, and then you can see the loading view of the beam. Now, this is new. We've enhanced this quite significantly over previous versions. You can see the interface is slightly modernized and different. You can click on things like diagrams, and you can see the diagrams of the results of the envelopes here. You can look at individual cases here. Okay, you can choose to see what it is that you want. So if you want to look at torsion in the member, maybe you're wanting to see relative displacement of that beam under a certain combination, maybe it's a dead plus live case, you can interact with this, and you can see here that you can just walk around this and just really interrogate the results to see. So this is very dynamic, just allows you to get in and explore the results here. These are also dynamic, so here you can see the rebar results. If you make changes to it, this is all live. If you'd like to just copy this rebar arrangement, there's a new feature where you can just copy and paste the rebar across. So if you wanted to make changes in here as you go, you can make use of that. If I wanted to copy this rebar to this, then you can just come in and do that, okay, as you go. Now, even before you get to actually producing detailed information, in here you can preview what the detailing is going to look like. Okay, and you can see there that beam and how that's being detailed out. You can get a view of that in here before you actually move to document things. Similarly, with if you go to the design, you can look at the various components here. So if I want to look at the columns, you can see the columns here. You can click on a particular column and you can interrogate this in more detail. You can see things like the interaction diagram with the detailed design checks. You can also look at interaction plots. Okay, so all of this information is available in here that you can interrogate, and we've modernized this interface. We've also, there's all enhancements and tweaks in here as well as you go. Now I'm going to just, at this point, I'm going to go actually down to the foundations. And we've introduced some new things in the foundations as well with this release. If I just select these perimeter columns here, okay, I have the option to insert a pad footing. Could be a combined pad footing if I've got columns that are very close to one another. Similarly with the pile cap, so it could be a pile cap, a combined pile cap. You have the options to insert these here. So if I chose a pile cap there, we can, taking the results from the analysis, we can then move in and design the pile caps. You can define your loading here, and then once you've done this, you can then design it. So it's now just batch designing all the foundations here, okay, in one shot. Okay, these are all being done, and then you'll see that it's populated those into the model. Okay, so these are passed. Okay, and then you can see the foundations there. Now, a new thing that we've introduced with this version is also pad-based design. So if I just select these, I insert a pad footing. Okay, you'll notice that the pad footing is being designed, and then I can just ask that to design all of these. So they're all being designed in one shot. You can see here that that's been created. And if I hit OK, you'll see that our pad bases are now realized in the model. Now, if you want to come in and have a look at this in more detail, you can go in and individually look at individual bases. You can offset them if you want to move the column or the pad eccentricity around. And you can play with different material options in here. You can even use your own user-defined loading if you wish. Another interesting thing here, which I'm going to get to later, is that if I just click here, you can see that there's this new 3D rebar view. And we're now taking all that information and we're creating 3D rebar and 3D visualization of this within the model. So in here, within these component designs, you can start to see how this might be constructed and pulled together, how this element might actually be built. So, so that's just a little preview there of that, and you can see how that works. The last thing I'll do in here is I'm just going to come and create a, last thing I'm going to do is just quickly come and create a, maybe a raft for this, the base of the model here, which I can do. Now you can design these using finite element analysis if you wish. Okay, I'm just touching on different capabilities here that you can take advantage of in the model, depending on what it is that you want to achieve. Okay, so let me just, oops, let's come in, let's put that in. okay, and then I'll just use that boundary to create that element. Okay, so we've got our model, okay, and I'm just conscious of time, so I'm going to talk for probably about another 10 to 15 minutes and we'll be done. I just want to quickly go in and show you how you can go about pulling all this together and documenting things out in ProtaStructure 2021, how this seamlessly links into creating drawings. So here I've done this, I'm now wanting to create my drawings and reports. Now there's a new thing in here where you can preview things before you actually create. So if I wanted to look at maybe my elevations of my columns, I can, for my first story, before you actually go and document them out, you can just preview them here, and you can see the way that things might be drawn up here before you actually get into producing those details into ProtaDetails. So I'm going to, I'm just going to load ProtaDetails at this point. Okay, I'll just say that first. I'm just going to load ProtaDetails at this point, and I'm then going to show you how we can quickly go and create all this output that we've been working on over the last 3/4 of an hour. So to do that, I'm just clicking on ProtaDetails. This will just open up the ProtaDetails part of the platform, okay, and this will then allow us to move in and create all the documentation in here, okay. So just give it a second. You can see it's come to life. You can open this, have this open concurrently, but you may just want to launch it as and when it's required. Okay, and we're now moving into the documentation side of it. So I'm just going to be very quick in here. What I want to show you is that in here, you can just come and create your documentation seamlessly. So everything that we've designed and created inside of ProtaStructure is now available to detail out. I'm going to insert this to a sheet. I can choose my title block here. You can play with naming conventions, with scales, everything in here you can manipulate. But then, and you can even play with things like how beams are truncated and the like. So all this can be edited in here. We then want to come and create. So once we're happy and we know what we're going to draw up, we can then let ProtaDetails spring to life, and it will go away and start to produce all the various documentation for the model. So you might just see there that it's laid out the title block, and it's now intelligently looking at how it can go about arranging everything into our sheets. So it's trying to intelligently organize everything for us, okay, and you'll see that it's just starting to work through that process. You might just see some of that information springing to life now, so you can see some of the detailing there for the foundations is being provided, okay, and it's just working through and organizing everything into your sheets. Now you can do this element by element. You don't need to publish everything in one go. It just depends on the nature of the building. Okay, but this is not such a large building, so I'll just do this one go. Now, if I come out, you can see that everything there is being drawn up. So all our outputs been automatically created and published into our drawing sheets. And you can see here our foundation views. You can see here our fan views. Okay, all things like line types, layers, and styles. All this is customizable to suit your preference. This will be your title block, just gets laid into your sheets. You can have different types of information. You can have set out drawings against grid. You've got things like openings and the walls and elevations can be drawn. Okay, you can see things like your column elevations here, even that irregular column that we created earlier has all been properly detailed out. You can also produce things in schedules, and we will do smart things like group the columns for you, so it understands what's similar, and then we'll just draw out what is necessary, trying to rationalize the design and the detailing. Similarly, you can see the walls there. The steel percentages are less than 2%, so it's admitted the ties. Things like this will be taken care of as part of the design process. You can see the beam detailing here, and you can see how that's been created. What you'll also notice here is that there's rebar marks, so that's positional mark 8. And over here you can see that for that bar, there are 20s, there's 9 of them, 10.4 meters in total, and here is our bar bending schedule. So I know for this drawing that there's about 1,300 kilograms of steel. That includes all the laps, links, and so on. So this is so this is how we go arrange things. There's also your foundation details as well. But you get the idea that everything here is being automatically created in the system, okay, and organized to suit. Now the system also has a library of components, and you can come in here and design various components. And these will produce the design as well as the details. So if I want to design some stairs, I can key in parameters, loadings, and so on. We can design these. Okay, we can then produce the design documentation. So it will create the reports, the detailed design reports of these elements. Okay, which you can preview. Calculations to various codes of practice will be highlighted to you in the design. They can be documented out. But then we produce the details. So we then use these elements to actually create component design. With this release, we've also introduced some new calculations. So the pad footing that I showed you earlier is available here. It's a standalone element. We've also got a new swimming pool design, and I'll just quickly show you this and a couple of other things, and then we'll call it a day. So here you can see a swimming pool. You can choose. There's different galleries here that you can choose from. You can key your own components in here. This one also has the ability to be able to define a soil profile as well as soil surcharges, which you can edit here. So you can key in an appropriate surcharge value. Okay, if you're happy with this, then that soil model gets applied to those walls. Okay, and then you can ask it to design. So it's now designed that structure against that loading. And another interesting thing is that we're also making use of the 3D rebar here. So you can see in 3D all the rebars being laid out for that swimming pool. I can create my report, or I can just move straight to actually creating my details. So here you can see that we're taking advantage of that 3D rebar, and we're using this to create the drawings for that particular swimming pool there. So all of this just gets created within Prota Details. All of this can be done. Prota Details is also a complete CAD system. You can draft in here. But that's enough on this. I think if you want to find out more about this, we've got some other events coming up that we can highlight this. Now, the last thing I'm going to touch on in the last 5 minutes or so is ProtaSteel. And I'm just going to take this model out to ProtaSteel. Again, seamlessly working with all within one integrated system to move into looking at our fabrication and associated detailing. So here we can see the model. Okay, you may see all the steel work and reinforced concrete's been communicated in here. Okay, at this point on the top, you'll see that there's a whole lot of different macros here that we can work with. These are all different types of connections that you can use, from bolted, welded, gusset plate, pin plate, end plate, you name it, it's in here. Connections to concrete, base connections, even things like embedded plates, things like railings, checker plate, the whole lot is in here. And the idea with this is that we can just come and choose an element. Okay, maybe I want to come and connect this purlin to the truss. We can just come and choose elements here, and as soon as we connect that connection is being automatically designed and physically provided within the model. We can choose other types of connections. So if I wish to, maybe I want to come in and connect this beam to this column. Okay, we can come and choose maybe an end plate connection, and we can come and create that. You can see that's been done. Now, if I select this connection here, all this is being documented. There are reports in here. So if I want to see a comprehensive design report to, for example, the American Code, British Standard, or the European standards, these are available in here. And you can see a step-by-step detailed review of all the design calculations that go into that calculation check. So all the loading automatically is coming from ProtaStructure, and we're automatically designing all this to your chosen code of practice. Now, if I had to do that for every single element in here, I might take me a bit of time. So we have a really revolutionary software part of the program called IntelliConnect. This allows me to come and design things like purlin connections very, very quickly. It's now just automating the design of all the purlin arrangements in the roof there. Okay, and you can see here that we've now come and created that. So you can see the purlin connections there have been created. It's very intelligent. It understands when things like those two purlins are butting up against each other, and I need to have a longer a longer angle cleat there to connect those things in, okay, you can just take advantage of this. What I can also do is use IntelliConnect to help me design the internals in that truss. So I'm just going to come and run the truss design, hit go, and you can see that you might just see there that it's moving across and it's designing all those internal connections within the truss. Okay, and these are physically, it's providing those connections, it's cropping them, it's rationalizing them, it's coming up with the most efficient design it can, the most practical way of designing and detailing these. If you move in there, you can see that the connections have been designed, and you can move along the truss and look at what's been able to create. You might notice that this is these are slightly sticking up. These are macros. Any of these you can come in and work with and edit. So if you want to just tweak the detailing at all, maybe you want to drop this plate a bit, and I just want to just extend the plate at the base there. You can apply that, and you can see there that that's just been adjusted to suit. Now at this point, I might just want to come and create some details. So I'm just quickly going to do this, and then I think that will be enough for today. We can add in objects into this detail of the ones that we would like to connect, and we create views around this joint. So here I've created different views, and you can have almost like a camera here where you can choose the views of that joint that you wish to create. You can add a 3D view in there. Okay. Similarly, I could come and select this purlin here. Okay, let me just do that again. We can give it a name, so it could be called purlin connection 1. We can add this, and we can choose objects that we want to include in the detail. And again, it creates a little box around this, and you can choose the views that you want to have of this. So you might want to look at from the top and maybe from the side. So you can choose these views in here. Now, the way we work with this type of object is that, or this model, is that we can slice and dice this views. We can create any views that we like through this model, okay, to produce what we'd like to see. So here you can see an elevation of the truss there. Okay, that is now actually can become a drawing. And if I just come to the drawing manager, we can create our truss drawing. So I'll call this truss, okay, give it a name, and hit OK. And then the views are then available to be able to pull it into the sheet. So I can pick up that view that we've created. Those views can be renamed. You can see the view here. Okay, this can be annotated. You can dimension this. You can put in your member labels. You'll also notice so that there's boxes around these. And if I just click on our little box here, it will go away and it will go away, number that out, and then you can see that it's now drawn these up over here. So those views that we took have now been detailed out. You can see the detailed drawings here. These are adaptable, these types of elements here. All this can be done in here. You can annotate these if you want to add the things like the bolts in here. You can put the bolts in. If you want to add things like dimensions in here, you can just come in and convey what it is that you're trying to present within the connection detail. You can see the 3D view there that we've got. Again, that's been created, and obviously also got your purlin connection there. You'll notice that these have been labelled, so that's PC1. Over here we had the truss one. Okay, these can be labelled, but if we come back to here, you'll notice that they're referenced here. What we've also done with this 2021 release is we understand what's similar, so connections are also automatically grouped against the model, and automatically you can see what's similar. So these two other connections are recognised that are the same, and so it's labelled those accordingly, as you probably like to do as part of the steelwork. The last thing I might want to do in this model, and the last thing I'm going to show, is I can grab this truss. We can come in and I can number the elements within the model. Okay, and then I can ask the program to that selected truss I want to create my assembly drawing. So it can then take this information, all this connected information that we've created, and it can build our assemblies automatically. So if you're now wanting to create fabrication information, move right down into shop detailing production, okay, we can just automate this process once you've got the connected model. Okay, So that's just finishing off. Okay, just give it a second and we're done. And then I can go back to our drawing manager, and if I just click on the, you can see some of the drawings have been pre-populated there. Okay, it's now just building that drawing for us, and we can see all the components that have gone into creating the details that we've asked it to draw. So here you can see the truss. Okay, you can see all the real detail going into the welds, the joints. All this information is being automatically generated from this model, and all the different components that would go into making up that truss are being created, including all of our cutting lists and bulk material lists. So it's really fantastic. If you want to get into creating this type of information, maybe you've got a client that's demanding this level of detail, then this is available to you as part of the system. Okay, so I've really I've covered a lot of ground today. I know that you've seen a lot. We've been through a lot in here, looking at a lot of different aspects of the system. Okay, I won't show anything further than this. Just see if I can get the maybe I can tease you with the 3D rebar detailing. Yeah, so the final thing I'm going to show you here is that in the model here, you can start to lay out all the 3D rebar against the model. So we're starting to work on this technology to integrate things like the 3D rebar into the physical model. Here you can see your foundations. You've got my pile caps there. Okay, all of this is being detailed out, including the walls, okay, and the columns, so you can get a feel for how this will be constructed. Moving forward, we'll make this information available out to other BIM platforms, and we'll start to populate all the 3D rebar against other BIM platforms, as well as enhance this capabilities inside of ProtaStructure. So I've talked enough on this. I'm going to just conclude, and I'll just take you through some quick slides just to finish with. I hope you've enjoyed this. Okay, I know I've been going very fast, but you know, we've got some great things to show, and that's why I wanted to just spend some time being able to take you through that. So today has really been about showing you how we're integrating that whole modelling, analysis, design, and detailing process into one, going right through to the detailing, right down into fabrication. I did touch a little bit on BIM and being able to use various pieces of information and integrate those. Okay, all of this is aimed at sort of giving you a complete solution. So ProtaStructure integrating with BIM in different ways, producing your detailing information, concrete detailing, steelwork detailing. We've got a very open platform. You can share analytical data out to other programs, as well as being able to provide all your design and reports in here as also. Now, we've continued to develop new codes of practice. In this release, we've actually added quite significant enhancements to the American codes. There's been work done in supporting the Thailand standards, the Indonesian standards, standards in the Philippines. We've also enhanced our Eurocode standards. We now support additional national annexes. Poland is also supported. We've broadened the scope of our general code coverage, but we're not stopping here. Look, there's some really a lot more codes of practice that they're currently working on introducing, and that's very, very soon. So if you're maybe you're tuning in from somewhere like India, don't be disheartened. We haven't forgotten you, and we've got a lot of new development work that's being worked on as we speak. Just to give you some upcoming details of some upcoming events, in 2 weeks' time, Atik Ahmad will actually take you through ProtaSteel 2021 in more detail. I'm sure he'll do more justice than I've done it in our short talk today. And then that will be followed on the 4th of November. Alto Gule, who's the Technical and Operations Manager for the development side, will take you through the new version of ProtaDetails, and he'll really expand on the full detailing, drafting capabilities there. We're going to really talk about BIM and how you can communicate and synchronize information with other platforms, and Mustafa will take you through that on the 18th of November. Regionally, just around the world, we really excited to get involved with and support various events that our partners are involved with. Tomorrow there's a big event in Thailand, in Bangkok. It's Big Tech Nga. If you are in Thailand, you can pop along and check out Applicad and the technologies they're involved with, including our brand new ProtaStructure. The Association of Structural Engineers in the Philippines, we're very privileged to be a sponsor of their big event this year, which is on the 22nd to the 24th of October. We've also got other events in Romania. There's an event coming up on the 24th of October. So we're reaching out globally to all of our users in various domains, and there'll be various events from our partners near you soon. So if you want to get involved, feel free to reach out and get involved. So I hope today I've been able to just highlight to you the real advantage of having a seamless integrated platform that goes end to end, from modeling, analysis to design, right through to the detailing, fabrication and BIM. This is really what we have with ProtaStructure 2021. It's a fantastic piece of technology. It's really been coming together. We think it's a game changer. It's really going to change the way in which you design and deliver your projects in the years to come. Really making design and detailing very efficient, very competitive, very profitable for businesses that are taking advantage of this technology. We do, with this release, have some very special pricing globally. So if you're interested in the platform, you want to get involved and take advantage of this technology, reach out to us. We've got some great deals on at the moment, and we'd love to have you as users. If you're an existing user, contact us as well if you need additional licenses. If you're wanting to expand the scope of the usage, you're wanting to take on more work, please contact us. We do have these prices available until the end of October. This includes all the upgrades and ongoing professional support directly from our team, and also access to fully learning and our knowledge hub to really give you information that can, not just in terms of the software, but information in terms of design and understanding different concepts. So if you're in Asia Pacific, that includes India and up to China and down as far as New Zealand, which is where I'm from, you can contact us through asiasales@protasoftware.com. Globally, please reach out to us everywhere else at globalsales@protasoftware.com. And also check out our website. Okay, so you can go through the website and contact us as well. There'll be a little form after this webinar. We'd love to hear from you. Please provide feedback. I know today's been a little bit long, but there was a lot to talk about, so I hope you've enjoyed that. Follow us, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love you to interact with us. If you want to jump on and connect with us through LinkedIn or maybe through YouTube, you can watch all the videos and new things that we're dealing with. You're more than welcome. So on that note, I'd just like to thank you very much for today. It's been a privilege being able to present to hundreds of people around the world. Very fantastic, and we love delivering this technology to you, and we'd love to work with you in the years to come. So on that note, thank you very much, and we look forward to continuing to be of support in the future. Thank you again, and we'll see you all in our very next presentation soon.